Masters of Terror, our season of midnight movie double bills, begins in 5 minutes, when Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce star as Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in the 1944 production Sherlock Holmes and the Spider-Woman. First...
Hey guys! Today I'm looking at the BBC horror double bills again. And this is the fifth season of horror double bills. It came out in 1979 and was called Masters of Terror. It lasted 7 weeks, so there's 14 films to quickly look at. And the second film's always a Hammer film this year. There's also 3 Mummy films in this season. Week 2's a Sherlock Holmes double bill, and the final week's a sci-fi double bill. So just for a bit of fun, it's only my opinion, I'll rate and see if the first film's more interesting than the second film. Week 1 had Dr. X from 1932 against The Curse of Frankenstein from 1957. So the first film, Dr. X, it's based on a stage play called The Terror. The film stars Lionel Atwill, and it uses a 2-colour Technicolor process that was used in Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933. It's the same process. However, there's a black and white print of it, as well as the 2-colour Technicolor process print. And it's a strange film. It involves cannibalism, murder, and I always remember this scene where they're strapped. All these men are in a circle and they're strapped to this machine to see who the killer is. I always remember that when I watched it all these years ago. They remade this film, and the remake's also in this season of horror double bills. So it's a good film. However, the second film's The Curse of Frankenstein from Hammer Studios. I've already reviewed this on my channel. It's got Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee plays the monster, and he's got some great makeup on. It's very underrated makeup. Although Peter Cushing's excellent as the Baron, I think Christopher Lee's a standout in this film because his performance is excellent as well. So out of these 2 films, I'm definitely giving it to The Curse of Frankenstein. That's the first film 0, the second film 1. Week 2's a really interesting week. It's a Sherlock Holmes double bill. The first film, Sherlock Holmes and the Spider-Woman from 1943, and the second film's The Hound of the Baskervilles from 1959 from Hammer Studios. So I've reviewed the first 2 Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes films. I thought they were excellent. This is the 7th of 14 films that he did, and this one's one of the best. I like the idea of the story having a female Moriarty character. I thought that was an excellent idea. And Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, they're always excellent. They're definitely my favourite Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. However, the second film's really good as well, from Hammer Studios, The Hound of the Baskervilles. This is the first time this story was filmed in colour. It's directed by Terence Fisher, and it's another one of them films that stars Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Really looks good, this film. I like the flashback sequence as well, where you see a maid getting attacked by the Hound. Peter Cushing's always good, and he's good as playing Sherlock Holmes. However, out of these 2 films, I'm definitely giving it to Sherlock Holmes and the Spider-Woman, simply because Basil Rathbone's excellent as Sherlock Holmes, and Nigel Bruce, he's hilarious as Dr. Watson. 2 good films, but I'm definitely giving it to the first film.
Get him this time.
So that's the first film 1, the second film 1. The third week had The Night Monster from 1942, and the second film was The Devil Rides Out from 1968. So The Night Monster, it's a remake of Dr. X that we watched in the first week of this season. However, it's not as good. It's interesting that Lionel Atwill's in this remake as well. He was also in Dr. X, and the film also has Bela Lugosi. However, it's not quite as good as Dr. X, and it follows basically the same story, so there's nothing really original about it. The second film, The Devil Rides Out, that's one of the very best Hammer films. I've already reviewed it on my channel. It's got Christopher Lee playing the good guy, the Duke de Richelieu, and it's based on the 1934 Dennis Waitley novel. However, the film's much better than the novel. The novel's like a dry novel. And I put this film probably in my top 5 favourite Hammer films. I love the climax where they're in this circle, magical circle, and the Angel of Death's trying to get in. And it also shows the devil in this film, and it's an excellent version of how the devil looks. It looks like a goat with a human body. I thought that was one of the best versions of the devil put to screen. But out of these two films, it's chalk and cheese. It's definitely The Devil Rides Out that's a better film.
Don't look at the eyes.
So that's the first film 1, the second film 2. The fourth week had Black Friday from 1940, and the second film was The Mummy from 1959 from Hammer Films again. So Black Friday, it's just like a kind of sci-fi gangster sort of film. It's interesting that it has a brilliant cast though. Both Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi's in this film. But apart from the cast, it's a bit of a dull film. Whereas The Mummy, one of the best of Hammer films, it looks brilliant. And I've reviewed it on my channel. It's another film to star Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, once again directed by Terence Fisher. And the makeup on Lee's brilliant. One of the best looking mummies, and I also like his performance, the way he walks. It's a real lavish looking film. And I always remember the murder in this film where the mummy breaks into this asylum and kills this guy, strangles him in this padded cell. Really creepy scene, that. So this film's sort of like a remake of the 1940s Universal mummy films. It's the first of 3 mummy films that's in this season of Horror Double Bills. So out of these 2 films, I'm definitely giving it to The Mummy. So that's the first film 1, the second film 3. Week 5 had The Strange Door from 1951, and the second film was Blood from the Mummy's Tomb from 1971. So The Strange Door, it's based on a Robert Louis Stevenson's short story. It stars Charles Lawton and Boris Karloff. However, the film's a dull film. It's just about this room where he's trying to crush someone, and it's a film about revenge. So it's a bit of a dull film really for a horror season. However, the second film, Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, a really good film. It's very underrated. It's the 4th and final mummy film that Hammer did, and it's based on The Jewel of the Seven Stars by Bram Stoker, a novel published in 1903. So instead of the usual mummy film, this is more about reincarnation. And it had a troubled production as well. Peter Cushing was going to be in this film. He filmed one day's footage and then his wife died, so he had to leave the production, so they got someone else. Another interesting thing is the director, Seth Holt, during the making of the film he died of a heart attack, and he died in someone's arms. So they had to get another director to finish the film, so a really troubled, cursed film this. However, it's a good example of Hammer films in the 70s, how they were doing more unusual stuff. Instead of doing an ordinary mummy film, they did something a bit different. So out of these 2 films, I'm definitely giving it to Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. So that's first film 1, the second film 4. Week 6 is probably the best week, because both films are excellent. The first film's The Mummy's Hand from 1940, and the second film's The Satanic Rites of Dracula from 1973. So The Mummy's Hand, Universal did 5 mummy films, and this is my favourite, easily the best one. And I think the reason is the mummy's more creepier. Like during the film, the mummy's eyes goes dark, black, it's all blacked out. Good effects for the time, and it makes the mummy look really creepy for once. It also has lots of fun humour, and it's an exciting film. It's easily the best mummy film that Universal did. However, it's up against The Satanic Rites of Dracula. That's a masterpiece. It's directed by Alan Gibson, who also did Dracula AD 1972, and it's got Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in. And this is the final film that Christopher Lee would play Dracula. He played it 7 times. but he finished on a brilliant film. I reviewed it on my channel. It's in my top 5 Hammer films. So it's a perfect way to end the series. So out of these 2 brilliant films, I've got to give it to the Satanic writer Dracula.
You are Count Dracula. Of course.
So that's the first film 1, the second film 5. So Wake 7 was a sci-fi double bill. The first films, It Came From Outer Space from 1953, and the second film's Quatermass and the Pit from 1967. So the first film's directed by Jack Arnold, and it's the first film from Universal Studios to use the 3D process. It's based on the Ray Bradbury short story, The Meteor. However, it's just an average 50s cliché kind of sci-fi film, so it's not very interesting. Whereas Quatermass and the Pit from Hammer Studios, I think that's really good, excellent. It's the best of the Quatermass films that Hammer did. So they did 3 Quatermass films, and this is the last and easily the best. And it's the only one to be filmed in colour. Andrew Keir is Quatermass, and I thought he was really good. The story's about to find a Martian spaceship in the London Underground, and it has a great ending. And there's some scary bits in as well. Really good film. So out of these 2 films, it's easily Quatermass and the Pit that wins.
That? Moving by themselves?
Yeah! I had to run to get away.
So that's the first film 1, the second film 6. So once again, the second film easily won this season. I thought they would with the second film being Hammer films. So my theory up to now is correct. That's 5 out of 5. So there's 8 seasons of these horror double bills, and I've done 5 so far, so there's 3 more to go. And the next one, part 6, is from 1980. It's one of the best ones as well. It was on the cover of the Radio Times when it first came out. So a really popular season, season 6. So look out for that, everyone. So see you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
22 minutes past 1 o'clock. Radio 2 will be around to keep you company if you don't feel like turning out the lights just yet. From BBC Television, though.